Good morning, Cascade kids. It's a brand new month, which means it's a brand new life app. And all this month and next month, we're going to be focusing in on what it means to have faith. And faith is trusting what you can't see because of what you can see. I know it's a little confusing, and it comes to us from the book of Hebrews. And this is a letter that was written, and it's found in the New Testament. And so we're going to look at Hebrews 11, verse 1. And this is also our memory verse for the month. Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. Is that confusing? Sure of what we don't see, and then trusting what we can't see because of what we can see. Let's see if we can figure this out together, okay? What is something that you can't see, but you know is there because you see the effects of it around you? Let's see. I asked my husband, Mr. Tom, and he said, gravity. And I'm like, yes, you can't see gravity, but you know it's there when you fall and hit the ground. Or what about thunder? We can't actually see thunder. We can hear it, but we can't see it. Or what about earthquakes? You can't see an earthquake. If they're big enough, you can feel them. And sometimes, depending on the kind of earthquake they are, you can hear them coming. But I think we can come up with a better example. And I know this example that I have isn't perfect, but we're going to go with it. And it's wind. You can't see wind because it's just air. We can't see it. But the effects of it we can see everywhere. You can't see wind, but you can see when it's windy, right? I wish I had a pinwheel with me right now. I looked so hard at the church for one and I couldn't find one. So a pinwheel, right, it has the spokey things. And when you move it through the air, it starts spinning, right? And that's how you can see the effects of wind. Or some people have, big ones out in the yard, and when it's windy, they spin and spin and spin. So you can't see wind, but you can see the effects of wind. You can see the branches moving and the leaves rustling on the trees. You can feel the breeze from wind. Sometimes it's a gentle breeze that's cool and refreshing on a hot summer day, and sometimes it's a cold, wintry blast in the middle of winter that hits our face. You can hear wind as it comes through canyons or through the landscape and around buildings. And you can be moved by the wind too, right? Because have you ever tried to open the car door or shut the car door on a really bad windy day? It can be really hard. Or sometimes have you ever tried walking in the wind and it pushes you back, or it's hard to walk in a straight line because the wind is moving you because it's so strong? I think that's the best example that I can come up with for faith. And that's about wind, but we're talking about faith in God. Well, just like the wind, we can't see God, but we can see the effects of faith in God. So that's what faith is. We can see the effects of what it means to love God. And so the writer in Hebrews goes on from that verse that I shared, and he goes through Israel's history. And we kind of talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and we reviewed some of the people that he reviewed, which were Abraham and Sarah and David and Joseph and Moses. And he lists so many people. So I thought, well, let's talk about Noah, because we haven't talked about Noah since last August. Do you remember Noah? Noah is somebody that built the ark. Yes, Noah built an ark. And here's the thing about Noah. He was living not anywhere by water. So he built a ship in the middle of dry land. Why would he do that? Because God warned him there was going to be a flood, and he trusted God. So he acted out of faith and built the ark. And it saved his family, and it helped him grow closer to God too. Well, the flood came and his family was saved. And we remember this story because so many of Noah's descendants are part of Israel's really rich history. So the thing is, all of these people that the writer names, and there's so many other people that we haven't studied yet, but we will study sometime soon. And he names all of them not because these people were particularly brilliant or particularly holy. They were just regular people, and they made mistakes just like you and I do. We remember them because when it mattered most, they acted out in faith. They trusted God, who they couldn't see, and they acted out of faith because of it. That's why we remember them. And you know what? then Jesus came. And Jesus showed everybody what God was like and who God was. And Jesus told us that the most important thing we can do is to love God and love others. And not just love others, but love others the way Jesus loved us. He died for us. That's a big deal. And then we learned last month that the church just kept growing and growing after Jesus died, resurrected, and then went up to heaven. The church kept growing. And people that had heard of Jesus, but maybe had never seen him and maybe never knew him, they started believing in Jesus too. And they had faith in something that they couldn't see. That's the effect of faith that you can see. And that's from long ago. That's people from a long time ago, right? What about now? Well, God stories are not just in the Bible. God stories are all around you. Confirmation. I love Confirmation Sunday and I really miss it. And I'm so excited for when we're going to have it again later this year because it's so encouraging to hear your stories, students. And besides those Confirmation God stories, there's also God stories in the lives of people all around you, maybe at home or in your family or your church family too. Hearing somebody else's God story is so encouraging to me and to us all around because it's just like we can see wind when we have a pinwheel. Hearing other people's God stories helps us see Jesus. That's why it's so encouraging to hear them. And there's other ways that we can see faith all around us. Faith isn't just in God stories. Faith is in action too. Okay? Look at all of these kids. These are children that are sponsored through families at our church. And this is just a few of them. There's probably, maybe 3 times as many kids sponsored through the families of our church. That's faith in action. And not just this, what about the Global 6K? So many of you kids participated in that. And then the 7-day 6K that happened this last week. And we're going to celebrate all of this next week. But I have to share something with you. I read an email this week from World Vision, and it said that 900 students in one community, the Lydia community, which many of these children live in, 900 students are going to school in a more secure and safe environment because they were able to build latrines in 5 schools. A latrine is a bathroom. Can you imagine going to school and not having a bathroom? They have a bathroom now. Things are changing in that area of the world. And it's not changing by accident. It's changing because of faith. And we participate in the Global 6K because we love God and God cares about those people. We participate in the Global 6K because we love Jesus. And when we love Jesus, when we're followers of Jesus, we have a job to do, right? And that's to shine his light in the dark places and the broken places of the world and bring healing. Well, that's how we can see Jesus. That's our bottom line. You can know Jesus even though you've never seen him. It's all around you. And why is this important? I'm going to give you a couple reasons, actually, 3 reasons I can think of. One, I don't have time to tell you now, but I want you to read this week the story of the centurion that had faith. That's a Roman commander, and it's found in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 7. And the reason I want you to read it is because something happened a long time ago when I read that verse. I realized it says in there that Jesus was amazed by the centurion's faith. Well, what would it take? What does it take to amaze the Son of God? If Jesus was amazed by his faith, then faith is a really big deal. And then we can also look in Hebrews 11, verse 6. It says that without faith, it's impossible to please God. Faith is a really big deal. And lastly, this verse came to mind just now from Matthew 17. It's about the mustard seed. And Jesus says that faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. Well, I don't know about you, but for me, when I think about all these children that are sponsored from people halfway across the world, and I think about the water that's been provided for so many children through the Global 6K, water for life, not just this year's Global 6K, but all the years that we've been doing it. And I think about children that can go to school in a safe and secure environment. To me, that's a mountain that has been moved, and it has been fueled by faith. It's not just by accident. Look around you because you can see the effects of faith in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places, if you have the eyes to see.